Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well. My name is Jeffrey Delaner. He who has a thing to sell and goes and whispers in a well is not so apt to get the dollars as he who climbs a tree and hollers. I'm going to explain to you why the following three items, as well as the previous statement, encompasses my past, my present, and my future, and how it represents me as a state of a being. The first item that represents my past is a Lego piece gifted to me by one of my past students. The second is a catalog drawer that was commissioned to me by a friend to restore. And the third and final piece is a nightstand that I actually created out of nothing, out of some old materials that I had when I was a kid, and it took me a long time to finish. So on that note, I'd like to begin with explaining why my first item as a Lego represents my past. So here it is, as I stated, my little Lego guy. And when I was young, I would always build Legos, and I would always build things and following the instructions and not following the instructions, always once at least. And I still have some of those today, that like a house and some ships. And that kind of encompassed and kind of who I was trying to become and how I was trying to become that person and how I was trying to build my life. And so whether that was following or not following what people told me in my life and what to do in my life and what to become or not. And it was just kind of a cool symbolism for me figuring my life out. So this particular Lego piece was gifted to me by a former karate student of mine, and it has a little bow staff, which was my weapon of choice as a kid, and cookie, because I would always ask them to bring me cookies, so one did, a Lego piece. And he's wearing a red shirt, which is the red gi that we usually wear as teachers. And this actually has a double meaning for me, because as a kid, I never once thought I'd ever be a teacher, or especially a sensei. And this kind of shows building myself and the potential behind it and what I can do. It's really neat. So if this first item represents the new process of building, then the second item represents maintaining, rediscovery, and continuing the journey. So this is the catalog drawer, one of four that is out of a catalog, library catalog that my friend commissioned me to restore. And there's a certain satisfaction one gets when breathing new life into things like this. And working on projects like this is how I actually got into carpentry as a young age, following my dad's footsteps and whatnot. So this piece represents my present me at 32 years old, going back to school, trying to reassess and continually reassess my career options and what to do with my life and all that. So much like this catalog drawer, it's got some dents, scars, some cuts and bruises and all that, just like me. And it goes to show that just with a little love and a lot of work and a lot of hard work, you can shine anew and never forget where you came from and keep moving forward. So lastly, place this down. My last piece is a long-standing project that actually I started when I was really, really young and had to stop because I didn't have the experience or the tools to be able to finish it, but here it is. This is my nightstand. It symbolizes me and my bright future ahead of me. And this is probably the most meaningful piece of furniture in my bedroom. And the top is actually made from a piece of fencing that my dad, who's no longer with us, and I would use to fix the fence of our property. The siding and the legs, I believe as well, are from my bunk bed that my older brother and I shared. He was on the bottom, I was on the top. And so this kind of just represents what I was able to do, and it stood there for a long time, still being used, just not painted, in my bedroom, unfinished, for a long time, because I didn't have the experience or the tools. And being able to restore it at that point and finish it gave me a lot of satisfaction and kind of gave me hope to continue doing that as I grow older and become who I want to be. So that's my future. And in closing, life is much like a project. Given enough time, the project itself takes wear and tear. But one can always nurse it and guide it back to its true state, which is curiously ever changing. So these three items represent my past, my present, and my future. Legos represent me building my ever changing and ever improving life and figuring out what to do. The catalog represents coming to terms with what I have already done and make changes to continue growing. And the nightstand represents and shows that with enough time and effort and hard work, you can get there wherever there is. So once again, he who has a thing to sell and goes and whispers in a well is not so apt to get the dollars as he who climbs a tree and hollers. This was an old saying in a church bulletin that for some reason when I was a kid I loved, I memorized, it was just fun to say, but the meaning behind it is you must do the work, try your best, and put yourself out there to fail so that you can succeed, and there's value behind that. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope this finds you well. Have a beautiful rest of your day.